All right, great quality podcast once again on the agenda. Punters are people too. Jon Gruden gets a ruling in his favor from the Nevada Supreme Court, and Shane McClanahan under the knife again. His season is over before it ever got a chance to start. Man, lots to talk about today, Steve. Where to begin? Let's begin with the Bucs.
Did your kids have a good day at school? I guess that's where we should begin because traffic was a mess.
Yeah, it was a big day. Yes, they did. Thanks for asking. And the thing that gets me, did your wife and you do this? Like, so from the time they went to, I don't know, preschool, kindergarten for sure, maybe first grade, we take the proverbial, first day of school picture with a little sign and that kind of thing.
Yes, out in front of the house.
This time they did away with the sign, which, okay, one's in 8th grade, one's a junior in high school. I get it. But nonetheless, like, these are emotional things for me. Like, I got a Facebook memory a couple days ago, it was from 7 or 8 years ago, and they were like babies, right? And then I see one for my daughter today that's in high school, and I was just like, this cannot be possible. Time flies so fast, and when you watch your children grow, it really hammers it home. But just in 7 or 8 short years, the changes, it's so it's an emotional time for me anyway. I woke up that way, and I still feel that way. But yeah, they had a good first day. I think it's one of those, they're excited to be back, and then once they get to school, they realize this isn't that much fun.
No, summer was a lot better.
Yeah, overall, right?
My kids are like, school, I don't want to go back to school. I said, well, you could go to work instead. You don't get a summer off. Like,
that's right. Give me a summer off. My summer off, I wrote a book. That's coming up soon. True. 50th anniversary of the Buccaneers, baby.
It's 2 summers in a row you've done that. Oh, well.
Yeah. Well, at least the one a year before was one that I actually volunteered to do for my own time.
And that one took a lot more than a summer. That was a whole year.
That was brutal. Some of that was, most of that was during the season.
Yes.
The Player's Coach, Tom Moore's book, and is what we're talking about. Available still. Somebody the other day was on my timeline and said they had read it and really enjoyed it. And from time to time, people will pop in and say they got it, and that sort of thing. So it really is a good read. Tom is a unbelievable human and has a great story, and still out there, 86 years young, coaching every day in this heat. It just amazes me. But that's what he loves to do, and he wants to do it until he can't do it no more. So happy for him. But it was today was, speaking of emotional, so it's the first day of school, and then I go to training camp, and it's the last training camp practice, and that was a happy emotional for me. But no fans, right? They just were out there on their own, and it was bizarrely pleasant. Typically, I mean, it's been so hot out there. There was an east wind, which generally is drier than most. There was cloud cover. Dare I say, I felt a little cool sitting underneath the canopies and things that they still haven't taken down, which they'll start, I'm sure, as soon as possible, because the Bucs are going to leave fairly early today and fly to Pittsburgh, and then they're going to practice on Wednesday, kind of on their own somewhere at a what I believe is like a high school, if I'm not mistaken, or someplace like that. And then on Thursday is when they're going to have the joint practice with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's going to be at the Steelers Stadium in downtown, whatever they call it these days. It used to be Heinz Field. It's something else now I don't want to mention. But so, and then, they'll have their own walkthrough on Friday, play Saturday night. Looking forward to that. Hoping it's a few degrees cooler up there. But they got some good work in, and at one point they were in what we call shells. They weren't full pads or anything like that. And at one point, Todd Bowles called his team up. I thought, well, it can't be over this soon. Called his entire team up and gave him kind of a tongue lashing. I'm not sure what it was about. I asked him, and he made it sound like, well, we weren't practicing in pads, and I just want to remind them of what we have to do. I don't know if maybe people were too aggressive or not aggressive enough or going through the motions. I really don't know. But there's a couple times a year that Bowles will, make his points, and sometimes loudly, although I didn't hear him raise his voice. But it's just, just coming off a game, sometimes guys aren't locked in the way they should be. Baker Mayfield was locked in, though. I'll tell you that. And so was Mike Evans. I'm telling you, the way Mike Evans has played this training camp makes me think he could play another 5 years. And I know he can't, and I'm not sure he wants to because he's said, that I kind of been just embracing everything about this season. I'm kind of, was like one of great gratitude. I'm taking it all in. And then he told, I believe, Kay Adams that, I don't know. I mean, this could be my last year. I'm looking at it like this could be my last year, or I'm looking at it like I could play another 3 to 5 years. Well, not 5 years, but another 3 years. So he really hasn't made any of those decisions. And I don't think he will till the end of the year. But as far as like a dude that just can go out there, at his age, 32 years young, and just rip it when he wants to, and just over routes and stick routes and any route, any place you put him on the field, he's almost uncoverable at times. And Baker was locked in; he was hitting them with a lot of good throws, and so that was kind of fun to watch. But yeah, they had a decent practice, and we saw a little bit more Teddy Bridgewater in practice. He's still learning the offense, and that's kind of the thing. I don't know how much Teddy will be doing for them or with them in Pittsburgh as far as the joint practices go. If he gets some work there, if he has enough of kind of a base to, function in the offense, then maybe he gets in the game. Certainly, he'll be dressed and much like the first game, if they needed him just to finish it somehow, because they didn't want to play Trask again or they had an injury. Maybe he'll be capable of doing that. But I do think by the third game, I think he'll play. And I think by the third game is when you're going to see the starters. Like Bowles is non-committal, pretty much the way he was the first game. But reading the tea leaves, they have a joint practice. They can control, the amount of contact, especially against the quarterback. They can put themselves in script situations like 2-minute drill, goal line, things they may not see in a game with this group. So if they get good work in, I think it's going to look a lot like it did, on Saturday night. Minus the fact that we might see Teddy Bridgewater, just to get him out there if he can function and do some things. But we're not really sure. Still don't know about Rashad White. He's injured. They say he's day to day, which is certainly better than week to week. He's going to have to fight now, I think, to keep that, RB2 status, because I think Sean Tucker is going to get more reps, and it should. And they've talked about playing him more. I'm not sure why they didn't last year. After he had that big game in New Orleans, he never had more than 6 carries or 6 touches in a game after that. But man, he sure looked good on Saturday night. So it's just it's that part of training camp where it's over. You realize, okay, well, so training camp's over. They'll go play this game. They'll come back. I'm not sure what the schedule will be, whether they'll stay in the mornings or move it to more of a, regular season schedule that's usually starts with walkthroughs at around 10:30 or 11 and goes to about, 1:30 or 2. Just not sure what they're going to do there, but it's we're not that far away. It's a quick training camp these days, quick preseason, just 3 games and then a week in between. The first week of the regular season, you kind of have that down week, which used to be the 4th game, where they just practice. So we're getting there, man. We're getting there, and I can't wait. I think, this football practice thing is it's not a whole lot of fun to watch those guys go through it. It's necessary. I had a chance to sit down and talk to um, Riley Dixon today, who's their punter. As I said, punters are people too. Remember how bad they were? Like this franchise has notoriously um, kind of struggled at times with place kickers, as we know, going back to Roberto Aguayo and that whole mess. And then, man, last year they went through 3 punters. Jake Camarda, who they had drafted a few years ago, started out really good, had damn near a 50-yard gross average for his career here, and then he got the yips. I can't explain it. He was not a good punter in practice, even worse in the games. In fact, they didn't put him in games for a while, and they went and got a couple more punters. They ended up going through 3 of them in one season. And Riley Dixon, man, has played 10 seasons in this league. Still looks young. And he went out there on Saturday night, and the first punt he had, they had him they were at their own 43 and had a chance to pin Tennessee in deep. and he just launched one. It's just 57-yard boomer into the end zone, which is not what he wanted to do, but he admitted, he goes, hey, I was just a little amped up there. But then after that, he settled down. He had one inside the 20 and, a pretty good net average considering everything. So I think he's going to be fine. And if he's fine, and you have a guy like Chase McLaughlin who does not miss field goals. I mean, Chase's record has just been incredible since he's been here. He's well over 90% kicker, almost that good in field goals of over 50 yards. So, you talk about, a lot of people talk about that being the third phase, and it really, it's not as, they're not on the field as much as the defense or the offense, but it is important. And you only know that when you don't have it. But these guys have two real pros here that if they're consistent, that's going to make a difference. It's going to make a difference in field position, going to make a difference in scoring. When you cross the 50-yard line, you're just about in McLaughlin's range. So I think it's a part that's been a little bit loose over the years, especially under Todd Bowles, and it helps to have them address it. And I think they've done a good job this year.
Well, they have, except they don't have a kicker that's kicked a 70-yard field goal yet.
Oh, my God.
That was crazy the other night.
That was nuts. Jacksonville's kicker, right? Yeah. So, kind of surprising to me. It was the end of the half, so you didn't really have much to lose unless somebody returns it. But that's the longest field goal ever kicked in any kind of regulation, game in the NFL, obviously, or college.
Well, you're not likely to see it in the NFL unless it's an end of a half, because if you miss it, they're getting the ball at your 40. Or they're
right.
That's you don't want to give up that field, because at that point you might as well go for it on fourth down.
True.
But no, the Bucs kicking. I mean, how many years have we talked about the curse that the place kickers have here? And
oh God, it went forever.
Aguayo and Gay and draft picks that didn't work out, and to have, when a coach can sit there and have the faith in the special teams and not have to worry about it, not have to game plan around it at times, or, I mean, not that they're perfect, because nobody is, but you go, okay, if we get to this line, we're fine with Chase. We don't think twice about it.
No,
we don't hesitate. We're good. If I think a 3 is important here, we'll go for it. I don't have to sit there like, oh, do I go
on
for
4th
3?
down? Do we kick
I'm
this
not sure,
55-yarder?
Do I feel confident? No, maybe we better call a different play, or that, when you can just do that. And same with your punting game too.
Yeah.
If we don't get this first down, we're punting it. We're gonna flip the field, and we'll live to play another series.
Right.
And when your coach doesn't have to have second thoughts about your special teams, it's so much easier to coach. It's so much easier to tell your offensive defensive coordinator what, do this, do that. Like you can just focus on, okay, what happened this play? Now we know what our decision is, because we're confident. And that hasn't always been the case here.
No, it hasn't. And I think you coach a different game when you have it. I think, look, and Tom Brady drove this home all the time, but it's about scoring points, right? You got to have one more point than your opponent, obviously, and that's simplistic, but it's true. And he also used to say it's a race to 30, right? If there's a team that can get 30 points before the other team, they're going to win that game. And I'm sure he had plenty of stats to prove that. So you want points, you want to score touchdowns, clearly. And I think that, there's certainly a move afoot with the going for it on 4th down and Dan Campbell and different people like that. And I think you'll see the Bucs become a little more aggressive, and they probably need to be. But when you have a kicker that has made 93.6% of his field goal attempts, the dude is 59 of 63. 59 of 63. How about this? Is this any good? 15 of 18 from 50 yards or more. So
that's pretty good.
Of the what, 4 misses?
1 is less than 50 yards.
One was, what's that?
1 miss was less than 50 yards.
1 miss was less than 50 yards. Yeah. Incredible.
It is.
I mean, he's as automatic as you can be. And it's the biggest change in football since I've covered the game. It just is. Because I'm telling you, and I know it was a long time ago, But if you made 80% of your field goal attempts back in the day, you were a Pro Bowl kicker. You're a Pro Bowl kicker. Guys made 75%. You might have a guy that could kick it 50, 52, would attempt it from 53. We're not going back to, we're not talking about Tom Dempsey and the half shoe and all that. But really, like in general, I can remember one of the early games I did. The Bucs had a kicker named Donald Igwe, and he's really good. And he ended up getting to whatever free agency was at that time, Plan B or whatever. He ended up going to Minnesota. They didn't protect him. They let him go. He went to Minnesota, and the Bucs were playing the Vikings. And I'll never forget this. So Igwe had, as fate would have it, had a chance to win the game on the final play with a field goal, and it was 48 yards. And now, even for him, 48 yards was very makeable, right? But he missed it. And so the Bucs won, and like Ray Perkins was sprinting out to midfield. He was so happy because he was the guy that let Donald, the kicker, get away, and he was about to come back and bite him on the butt. So when they won, and then after the game, a little bit of bravado, like we asked Perkins about him, and he goes, I knew it was out of his range. I didn't think he could make it. Out of his range, it was like 47, 48 yards. But back then, that was considered a pretty long field goal. It wasn't as automatic. Now, if a guy lines up for something under 50, you go, he's going to have a really bad hit here or it's going to be in. These guys, the kicking has gotten so much better. And McClanahan is already the best, kicker percentage-wise than the Bucs have ever had. So you add him and you add Dixon and the fact that, they've got a really good special teams coach. Now we'll see. They're going to have to get some young guys to go down and cover kicks and, who they come up with to do that, because I don't know that the coverage was very good. You need a return game. I think you're going to see Tez Johnson back there when he gets well. He's going to be the guy that they use, I think, on some returns. But
what did you think about Buca being back there for the first?
It scared the hell out of me. I was like, if I'm a Bucs fan, I'm like, what are we doing?
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, what?
Your number one pick, who you need to play receiver because Chris Godwin's not going to be ready for the regular season, and the first punt you're putting to Mecca back there, and all I could think of was, well, he can control whether he returns it or not. He can signal a fair catch, right? Like if he wants to protect himself, but I don't think they put him back there to fair catch. I think they wanted to see what he would do. And that shocked me a little bit. And quite frankly, I don't know it was the smartest thing in the world that you could do. I wouldn't use him in that situation. There's no way. And they got him out of the game fairly quickly. He had a pretty big long reception from Trask early on, almost damn near made a circus catch of one that would have been close to a touchdown, if not one. But yeah, I think it was, hey, get his legs under him. These guys are making their NFL debuts. They got the uniform on, the whole deal. They're all geeked up. They want to go out there and run around a little bit. Okay, they threw him a couple balls. Now get him out, But yeah, to see him back there returning kicks was weird. I didn't really see that coming. Although, they, like I said, Tez Johnson wasn't up. Cameron Johnson wasn't up. They had several guys at the receiver position that were down. So that numbers play a part of it. Numbers play a part of it. And I don't know how much more, you're going to see McMillan or Ibuka until the final game. But you got to play somebody. And they got a number of receivers that are nicked up or have hamstrings or this and that. And so you got to go with what you got. But yeah, it's a big part of the game, and it's one that I think that, as Todd Bowles said, he'll sleep a lot better now, kind of knowing, it's a luxury, but kind of knowing what he's going to get from both guys. And that's a good thing because I think you can't be a Super Bowl team or a team that has a hole at one of those special team spots. And the Bucs have been there before. And amazing games are lost as they are won, by not executing a punt, by not kicking a makeable field goal. Those things end up costing you, games, and then that costs you playoff positions and whether you make the postseason or not. So
you mentioned Tom Brady. I mean, who was his kickers all those years? Gostkowski and Vinatieri. I mean,
yeah, Hall of Famers. I mean, certainly Vinatieri and maybe even Gostkowski. Yeah. No, Tom made no bones about it. Like he's one of those guys. The thing I liked about Tom is he always made the game seem really simple. but it's a hard game to play. But to him, it was, it was simple in the sense that, hey, man, we got to get points every possession. Like, what? What do you mean every possession? Because we got to get points. It's all about scoring points. And if we have 10 or 12 possessions in a game, we need to score on most of those. And even if we kick field goals, it's a race to 30, So if we can end a possession with a field goal, not what we want, but okay, we're getting points. It's about scoring points. He would just drill that, and that was his mentality. Get the ball, get it across the 50. Obviously, try to score a touchdown, but if you can't, make sure you finish with points. And he did that very, very well. He executed enough plays to do that very well, very well. I was thinking, we mentioned about the Bucs going up to Pittsburgh, and they're going to have a joint practice against Aaron Rodgers and company. This is the second time that the Bucs have had a joint practice with an Aaron Rodgers team that is not in Green Bay. And, they did it a couple of years ago when he was with the Jets the first season. And there was a lot of hype, and they went out there and practiced against them. And I was in New York, and man, there was so many national media around. We got to talk to him. And then, he had the opening game in New York for the NFL, and then he tears the Achilles on the fourth play or whatever. And that was the end of it. Well, now he's in Pittsburgh, and for what will probably be his last season. And it's kind of the same thing. We're going to go out there and see A-Rod's chucking around. One thing I noticed, which I can't imagine, the last big game that Rodgers played against the Bucs was the NFC Championship game in Green Bay. And if you remember how the first half ended with the Bucs taking a shot downfield instead of maybe trying a field goal, and Tom Brady hitting Scotty Miller, and I remember Troy Aikman just jumping up in his seat going, "Oh my God!" And they took a 21-10 lead. You kind of just knew that that was going to be the dagger, and the Bucs were going to end up beating Green Bay. And it was a tough second half. I think Brady threw 3 interceptions, but they hung on and they won. Well, guess who's on the Pittsburgh Steelers? Scotty Miller. So the guy that beat Aaron Rodgers with arguably the second greatest play in Bucs history, he's now throwing to, or at least he has the option.
If you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah, right. I'm sure he's saying, okay, so tell me about that play again. I hate you. I have hated you my whole life, but now you're on my team, so I got to throw it to you. Scotty was one that lost trust from Tom. He started dropping balls, and if you drop a couple balls with Tom out there, he either won't throw it to you or you won't be playing, or both, and that's kind of what happened to him. He just kind of wasn't as reliable with his hands as he needed him to be, but he's still playing. He's like 27, 28 years old, something like that. So he'll be up there. So that'll be fun. I like these joint practices. They're fun to watch because you get to see different teams. You get to see them, kind of the frontline players go at it a little bit. And there's usually, like there was with the first one when the Titans came, you might get a little bit of a, kind of a brawl at times, but it's good work. And maybe Rodgers will talk to us. He did when we were in New York. We got lucky there. He was able to kind of have his press moment and got a chance to chat. So looking forward to that. We have what else in the NFL is going on? Is that it?
Well, Jon Gruden.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. But first, let me tell you where to go. If you're looking for the best timepiece of your life, it's Breitling Boutique International Plaza Mall. I'm pretty sure they're still there. You just have to go up to the second floor. Go in, ask about the beautiful men's watches, the Navatimers, Chronomats, women's watches as well for your wife, for your girlfriend. Now, these watches are durable and they're beautiful as well. She has an array of different colored wristbands that she can choose from. And you're going to be very popular if you're able to buy that Swiss watch. The Breitling Company has been in business now for over 140 years. And they've been in International Plaza for more than 5 years. And they've been doing something with the NFL, celebrating their 104th year anniversary with 32 different team watches. These are Chronomat watches while supplies last. All 32 teams. They've got the color of the face is the same as the team colors with the logo. They are beautiful. Go to tampabay.com. You can see one of those up from the Buccaneers as well. It's Breitling Boutique International Plaza Mall. Make sure you let them know that you heard about it right here on Sports Day Tampa Bay.
Before we get to Jon Gruden, Rick, I know we're the number 1 rated podcast in Florida, but we will not be the number 1 podcast this week because none other than T Swizzle will be on the New Heights podcast with the Kelseys this Wednesday.
I saw that, and my daughters are big T Swizzle fans, none bigger than my oldest daughter, Natasha, and she, in reading between the lines, and not even having to read between the lines, but it looks for all the world, not only will it be Taylor Swift on the podcast, there's kind of an expectation, a little bit of a buzz, that we may get confirmation of a proposal of some kind. Yeah, buddy.
Well, that means we won't even be the number 1 podcast in your house this week.
No, but for sure we won't be. But would you drop that on a podcast necessarily? I don't know. Would you come on and flash the jewelry? I mean, those two kids need to get
a lot
married.
Of likes, a lot of revenue.
A lot of revenue, right? Like if you drop it on the podcast, man, I mean, just think already people are going to be watching because they've teased that she's going to be on there in so many ways. They've all but confirmed it.
Yeah.
So that in and of itself is big. But what if she flashes a little bit of jewelry while she's there? That's what the Swifties want. They want it bad, man. They want those two kids to get married so bad.
You probably didn't see this. Cristiano Ronaldo, famous soccer player, of course.
Yep.
Finally got engaged to his longtime girlfriend.
Really?
Did you see the rock on her finger?
Well,
might be bigger than her finger.
Yeah, I was going to maybe bigger than her hand. What did he make in Saudi Arabia to go play? Did he go play in the Saudi, get some Saudi
he's
money?
Like $100 million a year. Like, I mean,
it was insane. Yeah, it was made Messi's deal look like nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, they should make an honest woman out of her, I guess, by now. I can't imagine, like some of the salaries that guys get for international fame, playing soccer, playing the greatest game. It's a lot. It's a lot of money, man.
Yep.
But yeah, Ronaldo.
NBA players are up in that range too.
They're close, I guess, right?
Yeah, some of the bigger ones are
60 million a year, 70 million a year. Is that where they're at?
Yeah. Quarterbacks are getting up there.
Quarterbacks are definitely going to be up there. I think next year you'll see your first $70 million quarterback. I don't know who it'll be. But whoever is next is going to get.
I'm sure the Browns will guarantee Shedeur Sanders that money.
Oh, man. He's back down to he never left, but he's still number 4 on your depth chart.
Well, they're setting him up to fail.
Apparently. As long as he doesn't drive with Myles Garrett, he'll be okay.
Ooh.
Shedeur has 2 speeding tickets, and I didn't think that was good until I realized that Myles just got his 7th. His 7th?
Yeah, and one of them, he wrecked his car. Well, it was not this one, but.
Jeez, man. Like, why? You're going to hurt somebody. Probably yourself, but maybe someone else. Slow down. It's not good. I'm guessing these might be high-performance cars on top of that. I don't know. They're probably not driving a Volvo. Nothing there's wrong with that, but I'm just saying. Yeah, it's first of all, I think driving is overrated. I'd rather be chauffeured. If I had money, like that kind of money, maybe you own a nice car, but at the end of the day, I want someone to drive me so I can get stuff done. Like sit in the back, get a nice big Escalade or whatever, have your personal Uber driver and just get some stuff done. Yeah. I don't. Do you enjoy driving? I hate driving.
I don't. I hate driving in traffic.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I don't mind a drive and there's not a lot of cars around, whatever, Sunday afternoon or like that. But I hate driving through traffic.
Like when you do trips, would you rather drive or fly if they're both reachable? In other words, you have the choice, right?
The older I get, the more I'd rather fly.
Oh, okay, good.
When I was younger, I didn't care. I'd drive 12, 14 hours in a car. I didn't care.
Oh, yeah. I think I've told you this story. My dad, when I was 11 years old, he got one vacation that didn't involve baseball tournaments. I don't know why. Maybe his team lost. I don't know why we had 2 weeks off in the summer. But I was 11 years old. He piled me and my 2 grown sisters and my mother in a Nova, which was a small sports coupe, not really a sports coupe, but just a small car, right? 3 in the back, 2 in the front, no seatbelts, because who needs seatbelts? And he drove us, not kidding you, from St. Petersburg to San Francisco, California.
We did a similar vacation.
Did you?
We went from West Central Ohio,
okay,
to the Grand Canyon.
That's a hike. Yeah.
Then to Houston to see some family, and
Good
then
ways.
back up north. It was 5,000 miles. We just go out in a new car, and got the oil changed on the trip, because at that point it was every 3,000 miles.
You went over 3,000 miles. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got an oil change in Houston on the trip, a 2-week trip. But it was my dad, mom, my sister, and I. So one less person than you.
That's about the same distance, probably. I mean, I know that we went. The first day was St. Petersburg to New Orleans, which is a good ride. I think it's about 600 miles. Then it was New Orleans, and we didn't. By the way, we didn't stay very long in New Orleans. We got up, had some beignets at Coffee du Monde. Like, okay, there's the Mississippi River. Let's go. My dad was just about, let's get to where we're going. Next stop, San Antonio. Hey, there's the Alamo. Let's walk through it. Okay, we're good. Let's go. The next day, and this was the longest draw.
I was going to say, New Orleans to San Antonio is not that far, but
no, but San Antonio to El Paso.
Oh, that's a long way.
Holy cow!
That's a day's trip right there.
That's all day and part of the night, and there's like 2 gas stations, and if you don't stop at them, you're going to be either out of gas or your tires are flat or something bad is going to happen to you, like tumbleweeds going through the desert. From
the Grand Canyon to Houston, that's what we did. We did from the Grand Canyon to El Paso one day, and then El Paso to actually San Antonio, where we went to the Schlitterbahn Water Park, and then to Houston the next day.
So you did it in reverse. Yeah, you went back the other way.
Reverse order view. Yeah, of what you did.
And so when we got to El Paso, at least my mom had a brother there, Colonel Joseph Alexander, who was at, I think it's Fort Bliss, I want to say, is out there. I don't know. Don't stop me if I'm wrong, folks. I'm sorry. And so we did spend a night at least. And then the next day it was El Paso to Phoenix. And then we stayed in Phoenix for about a week. My parents took a little side trip to the Grand Canyon. I think we went with them. I can't remember. No, they took a side trip to Las Vegas. They took us to the Grand Canyon, then they went to Las Vegas. Then we went from, I'm sure people are fascinated by this, Phoenix to Los Angeles, San Francisco, and then traced our way all the way back. And I'm telling you, you want to know why I can't drive far? That's why. Ruined it forever.
There was no iPads or
nothing.
So we actually on that trip, so I'm younger than you.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of ours had a portable VCR.
What?
That we put between the seats on the floor.
Man, that's not even, it's cheating.
And the screen was like 6 inches. Like,
yeah, whatever.
So we watched the same 4 movies the whole trip, which was,
That's funny. Yeah.
Today kids would be like, what?
Oh, man. Yeah, now for us, it was like coloring books,
Yeah.
We didn't have anything. You
play
looked
the
out the window.
Game.
You played the license plate.
How many different license plates can you find?
Slug a bug. When you see a Volkswagen Beetle, you'd hit the person next to you.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Punch buggy.
Punch buggy. All that stuff. And my dad was one of those people that would not stop. Like, you'd have to be jaundiced back there, have to go to the bathroom so bad before he would pull over. Wasn't happening. I'm surprised we weren't like astronauts. They just gave us like Depends or something. It was crazy. And I slept on a lot of couches in small hotels. I remember that,
Yep.
Parents got one bed, girls got the other, and I was like on a mattress somewhere, or 2 cushions from a chair. They didn't like me very much, as it turns out. So I don't want to drive anywhere. Just don't.
You think Jon Gruden likes road trips? Because he could afford a car service if he wins his lawsuit.
I'll tell you what, man, I might be going back out to Nevada. I'm on a roll. You know what I mean? So Jon Gruden originally he lost a ruling from the Nevada Supreme Court, and then they actually had a case there, and he won his ruling from the Nevada Supreme Court. I think it was 5-2 maybe or something like that. So what it comes down to is, the NFL was trying to enforce arbitration on the dispute, which of course got him fired from his $100 million job because of a bunch of emails and different things he had written while he was working for Monday Night Football. Wasn't even in the NFL at that time, or at least coaching. And they were Bruce Allen's emails. And there were, God, I don't know how many hundreds of these things. And for some reason, I think they were kind of targeting, Snyder more likely. But for some reason, the NFL decided to look at Johnny's emails, and then there were some, as we know, some homophobic and different things in there that were very embarrassing to him, and he's since apologized. And but nonetheless, yeah, I was surprised by how long ago this was. This was like what, 2021 or somewhere in there.
Well, that's when the lawsuit came out. The emails were from well before then. I mean,
yeah,
he was working at Monday Night Football like in the early teens.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. But it was July of 2023 is when an ESPN article came out about the leaked emails that forced him to resign. And at that time, it asserted that Gruden said that he hoped to burn the house down. This is going to be the thing, because if the NFL, which I assume they would appeal, but the first thing I would think they'd want to do is settle, because the last thing I would think they want to do is read all these emails, and I mean all of them from different owners and everything. But if Jon is, bent on burning the house down, then if they go to trial, and I'm sure they're going to appeal this, but if somehow they went to trial, Jon might say, I don't want a settlement. I want to expose all you guys. I want the truth to come out. I want discovery in this case. And I'm here to tell you, there's no way the NFL is going to want to have discovery in this case. They're not going to want to have to expose those other emails and who they're from. And so I think because of that, he's going to wind up with a giant settlement unless the Supreme Court rules in the NFL's favor and holds them to arbitration. But
either get a settlement or a settlement in a job. Wink, wink.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, and Jon,
hey, we'll get someone to hire you, but you got to drop the case.
That's right.
Or Roger settle Goodell the case.
Calls in a favor. Yeah, exactly. I really believe we would go with Jon Gruden. Jerry will do it for him. But and Jon, is doing fine at Barstool Sports, and he's still opening boxes every day. It's amazing. There's a place that hasn't sent. We haven't sent him our box yet.
Well, we have so much swag to send.
Well, we need to work on that. But yeah, maybe I can get the Tampa Bay Times to pitch in for like a coffee mug or something. How about something at Breitling Boutique?
Would that get that done, let's go for it.
His $7,000 watch.
That's a smaller box, but it's better than anything he's gotten.
That's right. You know what time it is? It's time for me to shout out the Sports Day Tampa Bay, man. I like the watch, okay? That'd be awesome. But I really enjoy Jon. We've seen him around a lot, actually, since he's been back. He's back in the Ring of Honor. I think we mentioned that the other day. In row 2.
He's got his own ring.
Got his own ring. That's right. Started a second ring, man. He's under Bruce Arians.
When you're in the Ring of Honor twice, you have to go in the second ring.
That's right. Exactly. And then Simeon Rice, I think, will be joining him soon. This year, and when they play Arizona. So that's something to look forward to. But yeah, this lawsuit, man, it's really kind of came out of nowhere. And I'm almost sure the NFL will appeal because they can't want this. That's got to be the whole thing. Like, they do not want to dump these other emails out there. And it's pretty clear that whomever was behind this was targeting Gruden, specifically, to tarnish his reputation, get him out of the league as they did, and made him resign. That's a lot of stuff that went down, and we may find out one day exactly what it was, or maybe he'll write a book. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. But yeah,
I know a good writer that could help him.
I'll tell you what, man. I already got the title. It's I'll Tell You What by Jon Gruden, and he's going to tell it all. Would that be a perfect title?
It is, absolutely.
I'll tell you what, man. Gruden dishes on emails, Everything. Just dump. Just go. That'd be fun to write. Okay, so what's not fun is what's going on with Shane McClanahan.
Ooh.
Man, like there comes a point where you're just like, dude, are you really? You think this is ever going to happen? Because you had Tommy John, and then he was supposed to be back maybe as early as May, and then he has setback and back and forth. So now what's the latest? He's gone back under the knife, according to Mark Tompkin?
Yeah, he's gone under the knife to try to help fix this nerve problem.
Ugh.
But as Kevin Cash said, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, but this isn't necessarily a fix. This is step one, and then they'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah, this doesn't
They're
sound good at all.
Hopeful to get good results.
Mm.
But if not, they'll let the doctors decide. But he's done for the year. Not going to throw this year anymore. So that's 2 full seasons he'll miss, at least.
It's almost as if just the way this has kind of been parceled out, you almost wish that he had torn his UCL again, that he did need Tommy John again, because then at least then this is what it is. They fixed it, and here's how long it's going to take to get back. His year would have been gone, but there wouldn't be. There just seems to be like a mystery about what exactly is happening. What's causing either nerve damage or what's going on there. If it's not Tommy John surgery that he requires, so that would be the scary thing to me. Is like, what the hell are we dealing with here that we can't fix?
Well, that's the problem. They don't know what it is.
They don't know.
So this is step one.
Right.
How many steps there are, nobody knows.
Depends on the damage and what some specialist thinks it needs to return, and he's going to have to go back down to the bottom of the mountain and start all over again. It'll be a while before he's throwing a ball with a sock in it, or that kind of thing. It's a shame, man, because he obviously could have really, really helped them, and you hate it for the guy. And you said he's still arbitration eligible.
Yeah, he's still got, I think, 2 more years of arbitration eligible. So he made 3.6 each of the last 2 years. Presumably, he'll make that again next year.
Wow. So in addition to just not having to play, you're also having to pay him, which is harsh.
Well, you've been paying. I'm assuming you keep him on the roster for next year.
Yeah, right.
And hopefully he's going to pitch next year, but
no guarantee.
Nope.
Doesn't seem to be trending that way, and they don't seem to be trending very well. They're in Sacramento.
They're winning, though. They're winning tonight.
Are they? Good.
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
Nick Fortes, a 2-run single.
They're going up against Jeffrey Springs, I believe.
That is correct, yes.
He was supposed to pitch.
Yeah.
And
your guy, Ryan Pepio, on the mound.
No, your guy, Ryan Pepio, because it's, as I heard, Ryan has pitched in that park before and says it's very hot. So he does hot better than any pitcher they have.
Well, this should feel like a home park. I mean, it's a minor league park the Rays are playing in, so it's like playing at home, right?
There you go. Minor league park with a lot of heat and humidity, or what have you. Maybe not humidity. Actually, it's dry out there, but it's still very, very hot. I think, I don't know. I haven't done the math. It seemed to me like they need to go about, I don't know, 20 something and like 12, to get to 86, 87
like 30
wins.
and 12, 30 like that.
Yeah. Which just, if you match it up with the hottest streak they had all year, you could maybe get there. But what are the odds that they can just suddenly flip the switch and play, that kind of lights out baseball to finish the season? Because it's almost what they have to do.
You'd say the odds aren't with them, but they almost did it earlier this year. Like they were 25-9.
They were, yeah.
In that stretch, and they were the best team in baseball for that month plus. And
that's right. Yeah,
so it's
not have like, to have that month again. Yeah,
it's not like they can't do it.
No,
I mean they're not really showing you anything that they're going to at this point.
Right.
Not enough consistency right now, but they've done it, and it's pretty much the same roster. I mean, there's Aranda's hurt right now, and
that hurt
you did trade Littell, but you got Boyle in the rotation, who's looked good, and.
The bullpen's still blowing saves, though.
Well, it is, and you added arms, and they haven't been as good as you'd hoped at this point. But
yeah,
I mean, there's the season's not over technically. It feels like it, but they've had that stretch in them before.
They have.
Let's say they have to go 30-13. I think there's 43 games, including tonight's game left.
Yeah,
they went 25-9.
But part of it, and I know they did, but part of it is, though, and like when they did it back then as opposed to now, it seems like they got a hell of a lot more road games now than they did when they were winning like that.
Although now, after we get through the next couple weeks, then it's going to even out. September is going to be more half and half,
one
basically.
in, one out. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really July and August that got the 8 home games for each of July and August.
Yeah. That's insane. I mean, that's insane. That's this stretch that they're on, 19-22, and the 3 at home were against the Dodgers. I'm sorry. That's a death knell for any team. It just is. And it's unfair. And we talked about it the other night. Like, I don't know whose idea it was, but they should be fired. I mean,
I was trying to think back. I don't know of too many other stretches in baseball that have been that bad. I do remember was it 1992?
Yeah.
The Astros went on a 28-game, 31-day road trip.
Wow.
For the RNC was at the Astrodome, Republican National Convention. And so they had to leave the Astrodome for a month. But other than that, I don't recall hearing stretches that bad.
No, I don't either.
I've seen 2-week road. They're on a 2-week road trip now. I worked one in Atlanta in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
We went Colorado, L.A., San Diego to Boston over 2 weeks. And the worst part was so you didn't have 2 weeks out weather-wise. It was mid-May. So you go to Colorado, the weather was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Go to L.A., the weather's beautiful. Go to San Diego, weather's perfect, of course. Fly to Boston for an off day, it was beautiful. Then that Friday night, it's like May 20th, and it snowed.
Jesus.
And nobody had any winter clothes with them because we've been on the road for 2 weeks.
Right.
Or at that point, a week and a half. And you're like,
That's crazy, man. That's insane.
It was like 35 degrees or 40 degrees.
Wow.
And we were freezing at Fenway. But the day before was 75 and sunny on our off day in Boston, which was awesome.
Right.
But
now you just don't know. You just don't know up there. That's crazy, though. Well, they're playing in Oakland, and it is warm there, and we'll see if they can manage to get a couple against the A's. They need to win series now, almost every series, and
Everson Pereira was recalled.
I saw that.
They're facing a couple lefties, so he's a right-handed outfielder, so they sent Peters back down.
Right. He didn't do much. I don't know. I mean, it just feels like it's not going to happen, and I think a big part of it was just this stadium and the whole circumstances around it, and then the backloading games and road games and things like that. It just seems like it was a little too much at some point, and maybe they weren't that good to begin with, but they really struggled, and in not having McClanahan almost from the get-go. There were things that happened, and you just kind of didn't put it together, and I don't think they can win 87. Probably need 87 wins, 88 wins.
Yep.
Somewhere in there. Going to be really tough. And even if they did, let's say they won and they were in a brief playoff series, best 2 out of 3, are they going to take that series? I don't know that they would anyway. So, but now you've got, 2 years now with no postseason?
If they don't make it this year, yeah.
Yeah. And so now you're trending, the wrong way. Plus a new ownership group coming in, and that deal could be at least finalized, maybe not voted on, but finalized sometime in September, which isn't that far away. Starting to hear, rumors about that. A lot going on with the Rays right now. A lot going on with them. But also a lot going on this week on Sports Day Tampa Bay. Of course, I'll be back at the Bucs up in Pittsburgh on Wednesday. There is no availability for practice today. They're on the plane headed to Pittsburgh. They'll practice by themselves at a high school, I think, on Wednesday. And then as a joint practice, I'll be there on Thursday for that. You can check out TampaBay.com and in the Tampa Bay Times for all the latest information. Go see our friends at Breitling Boutique. We say it, we mean it. It's, International Plaza Mall, second floor. Beautiful watches for men, for women. Also, the NFL celebrating their 104th year anniversary. Sports watches. All 32 teams in the NFL have their own watch while supplies last. That's important. It's Breitling Boutique, International Plaza. And make sure you let them know that you heard about it right here on Sports Day Tampa Bay. For Steve Versnick, I'm Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Have a great day, everybody.